Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Classics End of Wars Weapons Pak. That's right, it's time for another Weapons Pak, which includes a series of repainted weapons, but also gives us some new weapons and accessories for some of our existing Masters of the Universe Classics figures that are pretty awesome and going to be a must-have for fans of those figures. So let's go ahead and check these out. First of all, it's worth noting that these come on the same style Weapons Pak blister card that we've seen all the other Weapons Paks come on so far. It just fully showcases every single one of the weapons in their own little blister bubbles on the card back. And then the back of that card just shows off a selection of other figures in the Masters of the Universe Classics line. Hey, look at that! The Horde Troopers! Awesome! Alright, so out of the package, here is everything that is included. You can see that not only do we get a selection of new weapons and accessories, but we also get a brand new action figure, which I'll show you in just a bit. First, let's go ahead and run down all of the different weapons that are included. And we'll go ahead and start off with some of just the simple repaints, starting off with probably one of the weirdest ones in there. And that is the He-Man Power Sword, Shield, and Battle Axe done in a bright lime green color. Now, I don't know exactly what the purpose is for these weapons, but a lot of fans are speculating that these look a lot like the Slime Pit He-Man weapons. If you're unsure exactly what Slime Pit He-Man is, it's basically a zombified green version of He-Man after the effects of the Slime Pit. So, maybe these weapons are intended for something like that. All we need now is like a really cool translucent green He-Man figure to get released. Next up, we get Sir Laser-Lot's sword, shield, and mace done in a plain silver and black color scheme, as opposed to the translucent red and blue that they were in the actual figure release. Now, these are pretty neat looking little weapons, actually, and it's kind of cool to get them in just standard, almost night colors. And they work really well with Sir Laser-Lot. If you don't like the translucent red and blue parts, these do a pretty good job of actually breaking up all the blue and red on the figure, and they look pretty good with him. But of course, you can also use these for other figures who might use similar weapons. Next up, we get these Castle Grayskull weapons rack weapons done in kind of a goldish color. It's kind of a really dull gold, though. There's no other extra paint ops or anything like that on there, and they're not metallic. They're just kind of this really dull gold. I believe that these are kind of meant to be treasure weapons. Maybe if you want to use them for your upcoming Castle Grayskull playset if you don't already have the weapons rack, or I guess what they work really well for is sitting at the feet of Granomir. You know, gold treasure pieces sitting in his little treasure room there. But of course, if you want to arm up some of your other characters, you can also put them in the hands of some of the Royal Guards or even King Randor, or I'm sure there's other uses you can find for them as well. Now, these next repaints are really fun. First of all, we get the Hurricane Hordak weapons done in a solid black color. Now, there's no extra paint or anything on there. Again, they're just this plain black plastic, so I do kind of wish we had some extra paint detail on here. But these are basically meant to help arm up your Trapjaw figure even more. I think it's a really cool idea to recolor some of these other attachments to work with figures like Trapjaw here. In that same vein, we get Trapjaw's original weapons done in a silver color. That way you can use these to arm up your Roboto figure with even more parts. Now, this next weapons repaint is another really cool one. What we've got here is the Bubble Power Shiro sword, but it's done in a blue color scheme with a blue gem on there. This will be perfect for your Natasha figure, a figure that did not come with a weapon of her own, unless you count that net cape that she had. Now, it's worth noting that it's molded in that exact same gummy plastic that the original Starburst Shiro sword was in, so it's very bendy and flexible, but it does look really nice and helps to arm up your Natasha. Alright, we've got all the repaints out of the way. Now let's talk about all of the cool original stuff that's been added to this pack. First of all, we get the gun that was meant to come with Strobo. This is one of those accessories that was cut due to costs, so this is a way for Mattel to give us a weapon so that Strobo actually has something to hold in his hands. It's done in a nice paint job there. It's red gun with black handles and a nice silver dish on the front that is very reminiscent of the dish we see on the Strobo figure. And it works really great with the character. Next up is another accessory that was cut from the figure release that a lot of fans were really upset about. That's the 2000X style Rattler armor. In the 2000X MYP series, Rattler had armor like this. So for anybody that prefers the look of Rattler from that era, they will be happy to know that they can finally have this armor to add to their figure. It just unhooks in the back and straps on the figure pretty well. It is worth noting it's a bit of a tight fit due to his tail, but it can be attached, and it really does bring a whole new element to the look of this character. So here we go, guys! It's comparison time! Here's a look at the Masters of the Universe Classics Rattler wearing this new armor, standing alongside the 2000X release of the character. That way you can see how the armors look in comparison. Alright, so that was a look at all of the weapons and accessories in this pack. Now let's take a look at the brand new action figure that's included, Kowl. I was really excited to see that Qaol was included because he's one of those little figures I have wanted since we got Bo released, because it doesn't feel like you can have Bo without his little sidekick Qaol. Qaol is a really, really good sculpt. You can see that he is very much modeled after his Filmation appearance, but it's worth noting that he's colored like the vintage toy. Now, personally, since I love the vintage toy, I'm totally okay with this. When I think of Qaol, I do always think of the yellow color scheme, but I understand that many fans out there would prefer the more orangish color that he appeared in the Filmation series. So hopefully we do see a repaint of this figure eventually with the Filmation colors. He's got a bright yellow and white color scheme, and he's kind of got those rainbow colors in his ears there, and he's a really great sculpt. He does feature some minor articulation. His head is able to turn left and right, but the big ears do kind of prevent it from turning all the way around. And then his arms just move articulated, but that's all the articulation you're going to get on this guy, but that's really kind of all we need for a character like this. He does have pegs in the bottom of his feet, but there's really nowhere to plug in a flight stand. I kind of wish this particular character included some sort of unique flight stand, since he was usually in flight. That way we can kind of put him hovering up in the air next to Bo or any of the other figures. Otherwise, you're going to have to stand him at the figure's feet, or it is possible to find a way to balance him on the shoulder of Bo or any of those other characters. You just kind of have to find the right way to do it. But if you can pull it off, it's a really cool look. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's this new Qaol figure standing alongside the vintage Qaol figure. That way you can see the difference in the actual sculpt, how the new one's kind of more Filmation, but shows you the similarities in the colors. So there you go guys, there's a look at the brand new End of Wars Weapons Pak. Now, as it stands, this is going to be the final Weapons Pak that's released in this line, unless things turn around in the next couple years. It is a pretty good assortment of weapons. There's only a few downfalls. Some of the things in there I just don't really need or care for. I kind of wish that the Grayskull weapons were colored a little shinier to make them feel more treasure-like, and some of those weapons are lacking some paint ops that would have really helped them stand out a little bit more. But I love all the original stuff in there. The Strobo gun, the Rattler armor, the Natasa sword are all very nice additions, and I love the Qaol action figure. That alone is going to be enough to make people want to buy this pack, I can imagine. Now, this Weapons Pak is not part of the Club Eternia subscription, so you're going to have to head over to MattyCollector.com on October 15th to pick this up. Until next time,